In the Apostle Paul's letter to the church in Rome, after spending most of his ink expounding the riches of God's lavish grace, as he nears the close of the letter, he gives this simple yet radical charge to the church. Therefore, welcome one another as God in Christ has welcomed you to the glory of God. If the church is going to be a community where all people, those deemed able and disabled, are welcomed and needed, we must learn how to extend radical hospitality. The word hospitality means more than simply being the hostess with the mostest. The word hospitality actually means love the stranger, love the foreigner. The Greek word is philoxenia. It is the opposite of xenophobia, fear of strangers, fear of foreigners. Our churches are created by God to be communities of hospitality, welcoming and loving those not like us, for the glory of God. This hospitality must be embodied by the leadership of the church. What does that look like? Hospitality towards those with disability needs to be taught, championed, and modeled by the leadership of your church. This massive minority of people, 15% of the global population living with disability, needs to be talked about and discussed within the teaching context of the church. From the pulpit on Sunday to small groups throughout the week, the leadership of the church, called by God to equip the saints for the work of ministry, needs to teach rightly on God's good design in disability and the radical hospitality that is found in the gospel of Jesus Christ for people of all abilities. Not simply taught, this hospitality also needs to be championed by the leadership of the church. It is one thing to teach a concept or an ideal, and it is another thing to champion and exert energies towards seeing this ideal fleshed out in the life of the church. Unless this need or reality is championed, nurtured, and valued by the leadership, it will simply drift to the periphery and become unimportant. Finally, the leadership, with the aim to champion hospitality towards those impacted by disability, needs to embody this hospitality themselves. True servant leaders, following in the footsteps of Christ, seek to imitate Christ, the head of the church, and model this generous hospitality. Do members in your church look to the leaders for how to do hospitality well? Or are the leaders just delivering good content and instruction from their pulpits and platforms? Jesus washed feet. Leaders in Christ's church need to be an example to the congregation. Follow me as I follow Christ.